Order. Tuesday, June 28, 2005. Councilman Laws is present, Councilman Hodge, Vice Mayor Bell, Councilman Porter, Councilwoman Garner is present. First item on the agenda is the NPDES Interlocal Agreement Renewal, Tab 1. Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is a recommendation to renew our, if you want to know what that stands for, National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System Interlocal Agreement. We're required by the EPA and the State Department of Environmental Protection to monitor discharges from the stormwater system, sewer system, and the county does that for the jurisdictions within the county. We don't want to get into doing that ourselves, the monitoring, and they charge us to do that based on a pro rata of what they call outfalls into the system. And we had 47 of them, and it's like 1.1%, which is how they came up with $49.50 for this. I will say that part of those outfalls fall into private communities, which we may have the opportunity to go back and recover from the associations because we're paying for the private communities. Last year it was $900, but with the new construction, it's another indication of added responsibility. With the new construction, it went up to $49.50 because of the additional outfalls.
Is there a motion for approval? Moved by Mr. Porter. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hodge. Any questions? Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 2B is the early voting ordinance. I think we had a concern about Saturday and Sunday early voting.
Right, Mr. Mayor, the days that you set for the early voting is entirely up to the council. If you feel that for some reason you don't want Saturday or Sunday, I think that the supervisor elections would prefer 2 consecutive days, but if you wanted it to be Friday and Saturday or Thursday and Friday or any, those are all, we can just make the changes in the ordinance.
Can I ask a question, Mayor?
Mr. Hodge?
I know we're dealing with the Saturday and Sunday, but I thought when we chose option 1, it was 5 days before the election day. So it would be the 5 consecutive days before election day, correct?
You can do 5 days before election day. You can do up to 15 days. You could have early voting. The last day has got to be Sunday because they need time to put it into their system. So it could be any place from
It could be
Sunday.
It could be from Monday to Friday, and then maybe not Saturday and Sunday, and
Yes.
then be the next Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay.
Or not. Just the more days that you have increases the cost.
Okay.
Mayor,
Mr. Losner?
some clarification to Richard. As I read this, and I think Susan explained to me privately that this has to do with the state statute that imposes this
Yes.
financial obligation on us, that at any time any of our municipal elections fall at the same time as a county or state election, this ordinance does not opt us out of the early voting.
Right.
And then is it a correct understanding that we are not permitted to opt out of early voting?
Well, the whole world changes. It's just this one election. Because as of January 1st, 2006, we can do whatever we want. Mm-hmm. This ordinance basically covers the sort of glitch in state law and really will just apply to anything that happens between now and January 1st, 2006. After that time, you can do whatever you like.
Well, but let me ask you, because in section 1018A2,
Yeah.
I think that tries to deal with that, but does that go far enough? Because it says for elections which are not held in conjunction.
Right.
Shouldn't that say for any mayor and council elections after January 106 in order for this to be a true sunsetting ordinance?
You're looking at paragraph 2?
I'm looking at, yes.
So you're asking whether it's limited to not in conjunction
Right.
with the county or state election, or whether it's
Any election.
Any election. Yeah. I believe this is correct, and that once it's held in conjunction, then the county is going to do their early voting, because they have to have their early voting anyway. They'll
do it, it's out of our control after 06.
Correct.
Okay. But for this year, if our election falls in conjunction with a county or state election, there has to be early voting, but that's going to be on their dime or ours?
You have to ask the clerk who pays for that one. But I believe that they pay for it. I believe they pay for it.
Okay.
This is really our own election, which, is a city election, so it would be on our dime.
But, just to be clear, if there's a county election at any time we have our own election this year, whether it be a primary or general, this ordinance does not opt us out of the early voting, and the county's mandating or the state has mandated, and the county will conduct a full 15 days prior to.
Yes.
We have no say over that, unless we changed our own election day to like December 1st or something.
Exactly.
But this year, if it's in conjunction with a county election, who's going to have to pay for it?
The county.
Okay. And other than changing the date of our elections for this year, there's no way out of that. I mean, I have a fundamental problem. Election day to me means just that. It is a snapshot in time. It's not 15 days to do whatever you're going to do and vote early and then regret your vote later. But if we're going to enact this, I do have a fundamental problem with Saturday and Sunday, and if we're going to have any opportunity for early vote, in my mind, it would not occur after sometime on the Friday preceding the election. And I would certainly support limiting it only to 2 days.
Any other comments on it? Early voting?
Right now, the ordinance is Saturday and Sunday, so if you want to make a change, somebody would need to direct us to make the change for when it comes to the council.
And I would move then that subsection B be amended to provide the Thursday and Friday immediately before.
Now, let me, you finish?
Mr. Hodge?
Thank you. Now, if it's going to be, so we're limited basically to 2 days at this point. Okay. Now, from Mrs. Clerk, may I ask, the 2 days is only if we're having our own separate election from the county. But, yeah, this is only if we're having our own separate election from the county. But if the election period coincides with the county, whatever their early voting is going to be. This is only if the city has their own. So really this ordinance doesn't affect the early voting time period unless the county's not having an election, which most likely wouldn't happen, correct?
Mr. Mayor, but it could though, because we don't know at this point when the county's going to have that strong mayor election. It could be September, it could be October, it could be November, and we don't know that. And we could have a primary or a general election that's held on its own or in conjunction with. It's likely, we don't know. If there's a primary, it's likely that one of our 2 election days will not be in conjunction with the county question, because the county question is going to be a one-shot deal. There won't be any runoff. I mean, there aren't true political races where there would be a runoff.
So they'll go to the polls one time.
So I guess it's safe to say, if we have to have a primary and a general, one of those 2 dates will be on our own.
Yes.
Yes, no matter what the county does.
I don't want to say that, but that's the way it looks.
Generally, yes.
Okay. But I think that's likely.
Vice Mayor Bell?
Thank you. Councilman Losner, are you concerned about the Saturday, Sunday because of the additional cost to the city? Because of the bringing in employees and having to keep the buildings open and the air conditioning? I mean, is that, okay.
Those are several of my many concerns for weekend voting, yes.
Okay. I just want a clarification on that, because that's what I was assuming it was cost.
Because of the, I would hope that we would look at least one weekend day just for folks that work.
Like Friday and Saturday?
Yeah, like a Friday and Saturday, to allow
or after hours.
folks that work have an opportunity to spend Saturday voting. So I would not want to exclude one of the weekends. I would exclude Sunday for sure. I just have a problem with the Sunday, but I think Saturday would be a good day to allow people. Most people are off on Saturday, and I think we could probably get a lot more out to vote on that Saturday. So I would opt, we're going to stick with 2 days, Friday and Saturday versus Thursday and Friday. So we need to talk about that.
I agree with you.
Mr. Porter?
In last year's, what's been the number? Is there the difference between absentee voting and early voting? Explain, because in the past, I mean, I know we had opportunities where the machine was here in the city hall. It was available for an extended period of time. Is that considered absentee voting?
That was early voting.
Yeah, I think that was early voting. I'm really not sure what the prior clerk did with respect to that, but
It was absentee voting.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
If I might, Jeff, I think generally she referred to it as absentee, but it was in effect the early voting to go along with the new system that was being brought on board.
I really think that absentee ballots are generally done, it's a paper ballot that's done in a particular form, and that anything else would be considered early voting.
They just referred to that.
I mean, the point is, I mean, the goal would be to encourage as many people as possible to vote. And the flexibility, you would hope that we could build in the flexibility for, everyone to be able to come in and participate in the voting. Like the mayor said, the Saturday is an important function of being able to vote. But I'd like, I wasn't sure, I can't remember how long the window was open or in the back for people to come and vote at their convenience, as opposed to what if it rains the day of the election or some of the things like that discourage people from voting. I would hope that, I would like to know if 2 days is really enough. If you include, that would just be a Friday and a Saturday if we did it 2 days, right? 2 days early voting. And everything else would then have to be absentee. And that absentee voting is you have to request a ballot. The ballot has to be mailed to you. You have to fill the ballot out, and then you have to mail the ballot back. I would just hope we don't constrict it so much that we lose the flexibility to the general public to get out at their convenience, as opposed to, just the convenience of the staff. So I don't know what the numbers are. 2 may be a little tight, but again, it's up to the council. So.
Mayor.
Ms. Foreman?
Don't we have records? Sure, I know that you just came on board, but don't we have records saying how many people came in and voted? Because I remember coming in here a couple of days and it was packed. We were doing it in the clerk's conference room, and it was just packed. And there was a line all the way out and about, and I just remember that. And it was several days. I think it was a week, wasn't it?
At least.
At least a week.
Mayor.
We'll have to check with the elections department and see if there was a record exactly of that we sent forward, or that we might have buried in the
Thank you.
file somewhere.
I would think that if we're going to do the 2 days, and that's what the ordinance says, I'm comfortable with the 2 days, but I like what the mayor said, like if we're going to do it 2 days and 1 Friday and 1 Saturday, then it's not such an extra expense to the city, and I don't really like it on Sunday either. So I would say Friday and Saturday, that's the 1 weekday, the 1 weekend day, and it really does leave people with that excuse to not come out and vote. There's really no reason not to come out one of those days, plus we still have election day. So I think that's perfect.
Mr. Hall?
Yes, I agree a lot with Mr. Porter. And the reason I do that is because society has changed, times has changed. And, with the flexibility, we are talking about our taxpayers who pay taxes. And this is, of course, we have the responsibility of being good stewards over the dollars. However, we are to give them the customer service that they deserve and earn for their dollar. So based on that, I think that we do need to look at the convenience measures and the ability to be able to offer the flexibility for one to be able to come and vote when they so please. And I understand that election day is supposedly election day, and then traditionally that's the way it's been. But again, you know, things are changing. I mean, California, they're already voting on the internet. So, I mean, we're just catching up in times like these. So, which would probably be my preference, because then you don't have to worry about rain. But at this point, I think we do need to look at seriously the convenience of the consumer, and even based on if there are additional costs. And to my understanding, when there are early voting and it's our own election, there may be some additional costs, but I don't think that cost would outweigh the participation that we would get from our citizens. And I do firmly support keeping it as flexible as possible. We might not need the whole 5 days, and maybe there's a day in between, and that might be something we need to bring to the table and discuss. But the more flexible it is, to me, the better.
We've also included a provision in the ordinance which addresses the concern, which says that the council, by resolution for a particular election, can vary the early voting dates. So this is sort of sets the norm, what you think but it can be, first of all, you can always amend an ordinance if it doesn't work the way you wanted it to work the first time, but for a particular election, if you think there's particular interest or lack of interest, then you can adjust the days just by resolution at one meeting.
Let me suggest Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm hearing 2 days. I'm hearing a little more flexibility. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We need to be a little more specific. So,
I'd like to hear back how many people, I'd like to hear back those figures as to how many people actually took advantage of that early voting. And
well, we can refer it to the next council meeting, and hopefully we'll make a decision once and for all.
Mr. Mayor.
If we need that data, then we could delay it. Mr. Losner?
I guess I'd ask the clerk, and I realized she wasn't here, but maybe just in general practice, is it possible to differentiate between an early voter and an absentee voter? I think in past elections, they've all been lumped under the category absentee.
Right.
So I don't know that we can differentiate who came in and who was a true absentee voter.
One thing that we do have with the supervisor of elections is that every day that the early voting was open, there are tallies that were submitted by the supervisor of elections. So I could track that down.
And we have that for the 03 election?
I could, yes, they should. I'll check that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll delay this until we get that data, and hopefully we'll be prepared at the next council meeting to determine the date for early voting. Is that okay?
I'm good with Thursday, Friday, and Saturday too. But I mean,
all right. Well,
For the moment, we're just going to leave it the way it is, understanding that it's going to be changed.
Changes that, and put it on the agenda at the next council meeting. Let's make a decision, ladies and gentlemen. All righty. Let's go on to. Under the Finance Committee, bid utility improvement to the IPI. That's under tab 3.
Mr. Mayor and Council, it's staff recommendation that the bid be awarded to the overall lowest and most responsible bidder meeting the specifications, and that was Ron Lowe Incorporated. As you'll recall, we did the groundbreaking over there for Institutional Products Incorporated.
Yeah.
That's the IPI. I will say, added to this, though, the CDBG grant was paying $317,226 for the IPI project. However, we made a change order, or we're proposing a change order here in terms of extending the sewer lines that would pick up 6 more people while we're doing the work, and they're mobilized out there. There are 6 other properties that we could pick up by just a short extension of the sewer line. And that's a $25,791 expenditure, which we would be paid for through sewer utility funds. And then secondly, there is the roadway extension that would also enhance those other properties to be paid for by Levine Park. in the amount of $53,159. By their, again, the reasoning is they're out there, they're mobilized, and they're doing the work. That's how you get to the 396 when the actual CDBG is 317.
Okay.
For motion.
Also by Mr. Hart, second by Mr. Porter. Any question? Boy, there's a major difference in these bids, from 300 to 730.
I was looking at that, yeah.
Gracious. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Somebody with a later amount of money.
3B is construction of the 13.2 kV overhead distribution facility.
Mr. Mayor and Council, it's the Evaluation Committee's recommendation that looked at the bids that they award High Power Incorporated for the construction of 3 separate overhead distribution facilities throughout the city of Homestead. Now these 3 projects were determined to be required to service our expanding customer base. Even though we are building the other 2 in the interim, we need to go ahead and move forward and expand our existing system that'll be online prior to us getting the 2 substations done. And Ken is available if you have further questions on that.
Mr. Porter?
Mr. Conkle, this project is fairly substantial, so you don't have any in-house staff that you could do it with?
We looked at our cost to do it in-house before we went out for bid, and when the bids came in, it was only a couple of $1,000s more to do it by having it outsourced to a contractor than it was to do in-house. And actually, we are so busy now with all of the work that we have that we would have to work this job on overtime.
No more questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Porter. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item 4A, crime analysis project coordinator position. Mr. Porter, Finance, Public Safety.
Mr. Mayor, following in line with your request to try to streamline cost of doing business and doing a better job of it, the chief is, and I won't speak for the chief, but there's been discussions that we've got police officers currently doing statistical analysis that probably that police officer would better be served out being a policeman instead of counting numbers and trying. We need to get our arms around how to better serve the city, take the hot spots under better analysis, and then also look at the spots where we don't have as much need and structure a way of doing business there. And instead of allocating another officer, the chief has requested that we give him a statistical person, a numbers person, someone with maybe a little different philosophy other than a policeman where they just want to maybe put another policeman there. So
I'll move it for Councilman Porter.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor Bell, second by Councilman Hodge. Any question?
okay, that's my job.
Mr. Porter?
You're so. Well, I have a question. Go ahead, That's a question. I'm reading here that there's no requested budget increase for this fiscal year.
Correct.
That it's coming out of the existing budget.
That's correct, Mayor. There were some salary lapses that will make up for the salary, which is anticipated at about $9,500 for the rest of the budget year.
Mayor, also
I'd like budgeted in for the next budget.
Well, it gives us an opportunity to see the fruits of this position without doing any major change in the budget. If it works out that we see that there's a significant positive impact from it, we'd like to budget it for next year.
Good. Good.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, sir. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mayor. That's all it is.
Thank you. Mr. Lawson, any business for the Committee of the Whole?
Yes, a couple of quick items, Mayor. The first, I just want to make a comment on the add-on item to the agenda. I know we've all struggled lately with these last-minute items. And I wanted to point out that with a project of this magnitude, to keep things on schedule and underway, this add-on was necessary. Even a delay from now to our next council meeting is just a domino effect of delays within this sorely needed project. I just want to point that out. And secondly, Mayor, and I'll blame this one on you. As many of you know, earlier today I was tasked with leading the charge on a Northwest area master plan. And it occurred to me even before I left the presentation today that were it not for us drawing a line in the sand and enacting a Southwest area moratorium, that we would not be in the position to enact a master plan for that area. And we're beginning to see that same kind of movement, redevelopment movement, infill movement in the Northwest section as we saw just before we enacted the Southwest moratorium. And my question tonight is, Mayor, I'd like to talk about getting some council authority to the manager and the attorneys to begin on an expedited basis crafting a Northwest area moratorium as to certain issues so that just as we did in the Southwest, so that the free market doesn't really overtake the need to craft that master plan. And I know we walk a thin line between free market forces and crafting the destiny of the community, but I'd like to be able to do something. And off the top of my head here, I've kind of defined the Northwest area study as bounded on the north by the northern city limits, the south at Northwest 4th Street, which is the northern boundary of the downtown district, to the east, US 1, excluding Commerce Park and the Miami-Dade area, recognizing Pioneer Commerce Park and those areas that encompass the historic downtown would be excluded. And to the west, the city limit line, as well as any lands that are annexed during the pendency of putting together a Northwest master plan. And really what I had in mind was going ahead and begin crafting a moratorium that excluded activity other than single-family detached, so that we can really put a microscope to these empty blocks of land, as we've seen lately in other zoning applications where the zoning overlay and the underlying master plan are very inconsistent, and sometimes the master plan designation, I think, is certainly inconsistent with what I believe most of us would like to see for that area or citywide. So what I'd like to do is just some council consensus to begin going ahead and working on that type of document and bringing it forward so that we have that bar in place, if you will, so that we have something to master plan.
Any comments?
I didn't. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ms. Warren.
I didn't hear the boundaries were 296 and Northwest 4th Street.
To the north would be whatever the northern city limits are. The east limit would be the west side of US 1.
Okay, that's what I needed. Thank you.
Okay. I think Mr. Hodge had a question.
Mr. Hart?
Yeah, I was thinking, just to make a recommendation, I know you noticed you said that south was Northwest 4th.
Northwest 4th.
I would recommend bringing it to Maury, because that's where the Southwest master plan starts, and that way you can
We could take it to Maury and exclude Pioneer Village and the Pioneer Commerce Park area.
Correct, because there are some areas.
Yes, most definitely.
Let me mention, Steve, I had some preliminary discussion with the Empowerment Trust about funding the master plan, the Northwest master plan, and I talked with Andre Wallace. So you and the management want to follow up. There's a possibility they may be interested in doing that for
Well, and in addition to that, I know I've spoken with Don Delaney, and maybe several of you have as well, who was really the genius behind the TIF district downtown, and he had some very aggressive and very promising ideas that maybe we can overlay with the Empowerment Trust and Don Delaney's expertise to get something done rather quickly there.
Very good.
That'd be good.
Mr. Porter?
In essence, though, we would have a moratorium from the southern end of the city limits to the northern end of the city limits east of US 1, correct? It would be
West of US 1.
West of US 1, there would be a moratorium on the entire city west of US 1.
Not for commercial, though, and not for single-family detached.
Just for twin stuff.
Anything other than single family.
They've got other names for them, so just say twin stuff. And, yeah.
I don't know, it's a very, you're taking 50% of the city off the blocks unless it's a single family attached. I understand that we need to get a grip on it. How long would it take, Rick, if I may, how long would it take to put together a plan? I mean, if you were to enact this, how long would this go out? I mean, with this Southwest Master Plan, I think it's been 6 or 7 years on the table. So I just want to make sure that we're not, and it's we just extended it for another potentially 6 months.
Yeah, answer it.
The only answer I give you, Mr. Porter, is that I was not involved in the Southwest Master Plan, so I don't know how long it took, other than it took at least 2 iterations and quite a bit of time. So obviously, we would have learned something from that, that we can make the second one a little bit easier, but you're still not talking about something that's going to be done overnight. It's still going to take a while. Exactly what a while is depends on who's going to be assigned to do it, not just necessarily my department or whatever the case, but who's going to be the engineer on it, who's going to be the planner on it, is it going to go through the departments, a bunch of things we need to find out before I can tell you how long it's going to take, other than the fact it's not an overnight issue.
Mr. Mayor. Oh, Mr. Porter, and I think probably, and there's some very valid concerns about, are we really grinding everything to a halt? And perhaps we can address that, not the master plan, but how we craft the ordinance that gives us that breathing room. And get into some more specific areas and perhaps create some sub-areas within the Northwest so that we don't have that seemingly absolute bar, but just as some authorization tonight to get something going. And really what I had kind of envisioned for the Northwest Master Plan was more of a bringing the zoning overlays and the master plan designations into consistency, rather than the detailed, truly micromanaged plan that we have for the Southwest. I don't know that that's really necessary or advisable in this area.
Well, I agree with the concept, and I can support it up to a point, but one of the things that I don't want us to do is, we've got certain areas over there that a little newer development would be a much more positive footprint than what is currently there. And if this particular moratorium concept were to extend itself to the life of the Southwest Master Plan, I would certainly have trouble with that. I would certainly have trouble with that. And I know, I think I understand what you're talking about now, but to the staff, we can't allow some of the areas out west to be, stifled. And, I can support the concept up to a point, but as we go further into it, I certainly would like to hear more about the timeline.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Hodge?
I'd just like to share with Mr. Porter, to my understanding with the Southwest Master Plan, I know we asked for a 6-month extension, but we're looking at a timeline of maybe within the next 60 to 90 days for it to come to its realization. And to my understanding, even if they started drafting the ordinance, it may be another month or 2 months before we actually get a final draft and get it input. So in my mind, what I'm thinking is one would be coming off as the others going on as well. So I just wanted to share that with you. Because
my point is, though, Mr. Hodge, and I agree with you, but my point is that prior to this master plan, there was another version of this master plan, and then before that, there was another version of that master plan. And we can't afford to drop anchor while it takes us 7 years to come up with a master plan. That's my only concern. If we can expedite it more quickly and more along the lines of what Mr. Lossner is talking about, then that's fine. 6 or 7 years of master plan thinking? No, I can't agree.
I agree with that.
One final word, Mr. Mayor. My perspective is that Vice Mayor Bell and Councilman Porter are the only ones guaranteed to be here beyond about 4 months and a couple of days from now. So we're on a tight time frame.
Thank you so much for hit my trucks.
Mr. Hodge, any business?
No, sir, not at this time, thank you.
Vice Mayor?
One quick thing, I'm getting ready to start a program that Mr. Shahada kind of hooked me into, which is school on planning and development, and it's no cost to the city, and you actually choose and pick a blighted area in the city that you would like to see something happen, and you help plan and design it, and you work on that. I can't remember the name of the institution. Can you think of it right now? I don't have the notebook with me. Anyway, it's just something that's in the works right now. And when I spoke with the
I think it's called the Cantonese Center. It's part of Florida Atlantic University.
That's it. It's part of FAU, and it's basically a design initiative, and they're tackling certain cities, and I'm basically going to begin this, and I chose the Northwest section as a targeted blighted area. So this might be very providential and work hand in hand. Sure. And I'm wondering maybe if I shouldn't send Mr. Losner to this school instead of me. But it's something, and maybe it's just going to work hand in hand. I mean, I'm not sure how this is going to transpire, but I just wanted to go ahead and alert you to that.
Good. Mr. Mayor, if I would, I don't know that you took a vote on Mr. Losner's proposition there. Not a vote, but
I think he just asked to allow him to get with the attorneys and you all bring something back to us. So.
We didn't have an overwhelming no.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right. We'll do that. I just want to hear the outcome of that.
And I think part of it is, as we're talking about the Northwest, we need to get actively involved with what's going to happen with the old hospital. And I hope, Steve, that'll be part of this whole Northwest Master Plan effort, that we certainly want something there that we all can live with. And I know it's out of our hands, but we should have some say-so in it. So. Mr. Porter, any business?
Just a couple of things, Mayor. I want to compliment you on your wonderful State of the City today. That was very enlightening and very upbeat and very positive. And I want to say to the staff, I think the staff, you guys have done a marvelous job putting together the information so that we can show the public all the positive things that are going on. So I thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Ms. Garner?
Just to let everyone know, I'll be having a meeting with staff tomorrow regarding those PUD changes and a couple other items we're going to discuss, so we should wrap that up tomorrow to bring it back to you for final approval.
Very good.
Thank you.
Make sure you all work it out. We don't want to have a big argument on Monday.
I don't want a big argument either.
Ms. Roman?
Well, I was surprised today when the mayor tasked me with the Seminole Theater. I'm very excited about it. I remember it as a little girl and living here in Homestead for so many years. And we're going to get real busy. I'm going to ask staff to provide me a grant writer so that we can we have a meeting with Frank May and Dan, and all your team needs to be on board with it, and plan on having a meeting next week, and I'll bring back some recommendations.
Thank you, Ms. Wallman. I have just a few comments, and one is Kurt Herring. It appears that every time I make a presentation and I'm coming to Park and Rec, I forget your name. So I just said the Park and Rec staff, but I just want to thank you for the fantastic job you're doing, and I tell you, you should be envied by other park directors. A lot of money is coming into your department, and I tell you. Now, after we get all this new stuff built, it's just managing it, and I hope the manager will someday agree to give you the resources to make that happen. So, but I just want to apologize. I always forget his name. I get the Park and Rec. I said, what's the director's name? I keep forgetting. But I too want to thank all of you and the council for being there today. I think we sent out a very positive message to the community. You've accomplished a lot. You guys have done an outstanding job. You're working hard for this community, and I think it's good. It was easy for me to stand up and say all those good things everybody else is doing. So I want to thank everyone that had a part in it. And those displays were just outstanding, and I don't know how it was done, but I called one day and talked to Marlene, and I think she had a couple of days to get it done, but you got it done. And I appreciate it. It's the team. It's the teamwork, right? So I appreciate it. Patty, you, and the whole team. So thank you all so very much. Mr. Manager, anything for me?
Nothing, Mayor.
Mr. Weiss?
No, sir.
No lawsuits today.
No lawsuits.
Today's not over.
Not today, not any day.
Mr. Shiver?
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much, Steve Shiver. I apologize for doing this unannounced, but we tried to get on the agenda and it was just too late. We have, if you'll remember, back in 2003, the Homestead 50 group that came forward with a PUD on the eastern side of town. At the suggestion of the Planning and Zoning Board and others at council level, we met with the East Lake homeowners. We had 6 different site plans. Northgate, I'm sorry, yes, the Northgate homeowners. 6 different site plans, 17 different iterations of lakes and other things like that. And in October of 2004, we were approved. The PUD was approved. Is sketch, yes. And at the same time that night, you changed the lake maintenance easement requirements. And it's instead of from top of bank towards the lake, which has, it's my understanding from our engineers and architects, which is similar to other codes in Dade County, cities in Dade County, it changed from top of bank towards the house. If we are required to do that, we have to then now go back at the 11th hour as we come forward to get on the agenda and change our entire lake scope, the sloping, the entire financial model for the development. It just seems like it's a little unfair. I know that we hate talking about the pipeline, but we were clearly in the pipeline, and we were in the application process, the hearing process, trying to work out with the homeowners, which we did. And if you'll remember, I think it was Jan Jordan and Kevin Sullivan who stood up here and commended you all for requiring us to work together and just the process and how it worked. Also in January, we were asked through DRC, and we've got the minutes of those meetings. Mr. LaPrade gave us very clear instructions on what to do with our traffic study. And I think it was in February or March, you hired a traffic consultant. So now after our traffic study's done, this traffic consultant is now asking for a whole host of other things that, again, it just moved the goalpost again. Silvio Cardosa, United Homes, and Jerry Aguirre, Southern Homes, both. Jerry's not here, but Silvio is here. If you have any questions or anything, but we'd like to ask and appeal to you to allow us to move forward under the direction of the code that was in place at the time that we began this process. It was approved the same night, and it just again puts us really far behind the 8 ball. So I'm looking for guidance and advice.
Steve, I think Amanda mentioned that she's meeting with the staff tomorrow on some issues. Could we add that issue to the agenda, Amanda?
Sure.
I'm sorry, Ms. Garner, but yes, we would love to do that. We would love to do that. Our goal is to get on the agenda in August. We still have to go through planning and zoning and the whole host of public hearings, and time is, in this instance always, time is money in real estate. And since we've gone through so many extraordinary meetings at your request, and we feel that actually, by the way, Rick and staff have done a great job in working with us, because we, at most cases, in fact, I think even one of the staff members from Charles's office attended some of those meetings with the homeowners, so it wasn't an easy task, but we'd like to see the light at the end of the tunnel, at least get it finished sometime soon, so we can get on the agenda in August. So we'll be happy to meet with Ms. Garner.
Amanda and the staff tomorrow, and I'm sure
Absolutely.
Amanda will use her infinite wisdom and do the right thing for you tomorrow.
We'll be happy to do that. Thank you.
Yes, Mrs. Shaw. Could you all talk about it tomorrow at the meeting?
Mr. Mayor, we'll be happy to meet with Mr. Sharber and anybody he wants to have there and see what the issues are. As far as me and Kurt are not aware of these issues, so we would like to have the opportunity to review them and see what we can do administratively.
Very good. Very good. Thank you all very much. Any other business? Thank you all for coming.
What time is the meeting? It's a self. It's written out in the tabs. Right on the left desk. do know your thoughts on her, you probably talk to Norma. One day after.
heard it all, don't worry. That's all right, I heard it all.
Yeah, because this is really extending it out to the quality control. Councilman, washed up?
Yes.
You're in the right place.
Okay, great.
You're the first two.
Okay, very good, thank you. Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm in Carl. Nice to meet you. This is Christine. Nice to meet you.
You guys are running this, we're just providing you the space. And we have to
Okay. Now, I'm not on the board or anything. I'm just here as
your board's running it.
Right, okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate you using the space.
Down the side.
Yes. I imagine that's going to be forward.
Yeah, I think one of the good things is finding have you got your orders assigned to you yet?
There's a wall there, but then
Yes.
Yeah, turned over your home.
Yes.
We talked to the applicant.
probably,
We don't have control over it.
Right, of course.
They're pretty good.
and maybe that's
I'd say
what
ours
we're
is
saying
within
with
the
the recommendation.
you know,
Yeah, I didn't know that you know stuff.
they've been pretty good because every time that, I get an email or somebody.
Well, that's why, since he was here, that's why I wanted to.
We want to help, that's our business,
Everything, other than getting the clubhouse online, everything that was promised us in contract, we got it, so we know about it.
We'll be happy when y'all are living in quasi-construction zone out there.
How many homes are in that water church?
I think there's about 2,200 approximately, somewhere near that Waterstone. And then what happened, Waterstone came on, but it was that whole 479 acres, ain't more than hospitals.
Right.
The land started to go.
Sure.
So how much of it recall? Waterstone sold off some to other people, and I don't really think, actually, Apples has some other ponds over there. I think they're still calling it part of Waterstone.
Yeah, I think that's fine. That was built there, they kind of found.
Believe me,
Braces.
we've been dealing with so much.
I'm sure you've had your hands full with the rabbits.
What I'm saying is, the trust schools, they come like this, and then they just have like an X this way, and maybe small person.
Yeah, well, we've been here for 9 years, we used to live in the village, so we're not. Yeah, we're basically everybody else with the wastewater stuff and water.
That's really good knowledge.
I was looking for it, because we just pay a lot of review business.
Very good. Appreciate you stopping by. Thanks, Mike.
Got another 15 minutes.
Yeah, but take condition there's no mosquitoes.
There you go. Thank you. How about that?
Maybe Friday. Friday's usually not as busy. Friday before lunch or something. That's all the copy. Let me make a copy.
Take a copy right here. Yeah, but I was discussing your stuff. I said, look, I'm from the practice, and we fought this thing for 9 months. I think you sent it back, Southwest Master Plan, and all that stuff. We've been doing too long fighting with this thing to try to get this thing together. See this? Down here.
Yes, they didn't need anybody else's. She just refills it for me.
Oh.
I don't need any of this.
What did I miss? What did I miss today? I was coming to, what the hell?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, we can't thank you enough for, allowing us this facility. This is really wonderful. Yeah, well, you know.
But they do usually charge, but I told them that's ridiculous, so.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, Peggy's like, I think I might have to charge you. I'm like, you can charge me like $1 million. And she's like,
What is the typical charge, though, just for future reference?
She said it was an hour of the person, it's whatever that person's salary was for that hour.
Oh, so it'd be like, what, $100 an hour or $50 an hour?
She's workers, honey.
I'm used to the corporate charge everything to death. Oh, yeah, exactly. Good grief. Yeah, the attorneys, man, I feel you. It's like one call when my wife's mother was going through probate or whatever. They were liquidating the estate. The attorney, they were all said and done. The attorney called them for like 5 minutes. Oh my goodness. Were you doing some extreme games or something? Actually, that's terrible. Ligament's worse than a broken bone. What, probably up and down the stairs, maybe? Oh, uneven on the grass or something. Oh, this morning we had it to turnover.
What time was it?
Well, that was less convenient. That's why a lot of people didn't show up, because we had it at the property manager's office down in by Tamiami Airport. Yeah, it takes them like an hour to get up there with all the traffic and everything. And yeah, that's why we didn't have a good turnout. A lot of people are like, get that. So that's, here this is up the road, so they seem to turn out here for some reason. Convenience. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to speak too early, but our group isn't usually as hostile as the Lennar bunch. Really. Yeah. Luckily. That's stressful when you're on this side of the bench, you know what I mean? They don't understand. Right.
Try to help without getting herself in trouble.
Try to arbitrate. Yeah, it's the similar issues we had with the Abos. Although, we're trying to move on past that. I don't know, Mary Beth's been running the front and the forward and the front of that, because I've been wrapped around the outage. I ended up working 12s, and so I'm on the peripherals, and it's been her and Ingrid. I don't know if that Ingrid would. No, she didn't show up for the turnover, and never proxy voted or never got involved. Yeah, I know. Well, she just had a baby and stuff, so I think she's kind of like, I can't do it all. So that's tough, you know. It is like, it's a volunteer job, and you put a lot of time into it. So that's where a lot of people don't realize. They start screaming at you and stuff. It's like, hey, wait a minute, man. Yeah, exactly. Mary Beth does a good job of corralling them, though, I must say. Strong individual. Good God. It's been a learning experience. Well, the thing that I kept trying to tell Ed is you do no service to yourself as a corporation or to the city or the residents living in there if you leave everything in such turmoil. Everyone all angry and unsatisfied. I mean, he always puts on the spiel that, 100% satisfaction, but you can see from the meetings that the residents are unhappy about certain issues. And the best scenario for him in his first couple developments he does in the area would be to have almost a lost leader mentality where he goes overboard to make everything happy so that you get people to move in. I mean, all that bad press that is going on, every other weekend in the Herald, some nasty game about the taxes and all this kind of stuff. That doesn't help. That doesn't help the city or the developer. How's he going to sell more homes? And, right. You can get more money for his homes and stuff like that, and the city needs it for the tax base. So, I mean.
We had our city in the city yesterday, and the mayor made a comment that we would like to propose a full mill decrease.
Oh, that is wonderful. I'm so happy with him.
It hasn't been approved.
Yeah, but just the consideration is wonderful. I mean, that's much better. Yeah, right. Right, exactly. That's the thing I noticed. If you look at like Aventura, Sunny Isles, their millage rates are ridiculously low. But then again, the homes are, so they can do that, Whereas if you're in a poor town or a poorer city, you have to have high millage rates to make up for the low tax base. Right, of course. Well, they're screaming, you saw, more police. So that's excellent.
We'll keep looking at it again in October, but it's gotten much better.
Right. Well, if Lennar and the guys can kind of clean up the image a little bit and continue selling the homes, especially that new development Oasis where you start in the 400s, that's going to be a heck of a tax base.
That's probably why the mayor.
Okay. Yeah, they've already started clearing land, so they're going like crazy. And then I think I don't know if it ever went through. I've been so busy, but I know it's embarrassing. I forgot his name. I had spoken with the assistant city manager. Yes, and I guess we're trying to annex a portion of the Redlands. It's called Redlands West, I think. Is that right? It's the little narrow strip of land between Redlands and the city. I think it was called Redlands East or Redlands West. It had some funny name. Did you know if that ever went through, that annexation? Really?
It was just north of Colorado, just east of
So that's what, all agricultural then?
And we weren't going to change the zoning or anything, we just wanted to annex in because the owner asked to be annexed in.
Oh, okay. So he gets city services then? Right. And it takes him an hour. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
He's right there, he's looking at it.
Makes sense for him. Right. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. As a growing city, you need to kind of, it's almost, I'm sure it's not this simplistic, but if you ever played SimCity, there's a lot of truth to it. Yeah, I saw that. They just recently, that's why I thought of that. I read in the newsletter. Yeah, I know. It was a struggle fight. Really? Wow. They struggle with the same, hey, there she is. We struggle with this, yeah, really.
How are you?
Okay, you need help?
No, I just need to set up. Where would be the best place for?
We're going to set up here, I guess. Because you get the mic and all that.
All right, very good.
Yeah, really. Yeah, really. He fronts all the battles. Yeah. Well, I can move over if I'm squishing you.
No.
Okay.
Stay right there.
I mean,
Yeah, this is tight quarters here.
yeah, I'll draw a line and make sure I don't cross it or anything. There you go.
I had the pleasure to meet you before, but I don't remember me. Yeah, that's right. I didn't know you. Right. That's usually
Yeah, really. I'm hoping it's easier for Zoe tonight. She had people from Portofino Estates in that meeting. They tend to be a little bit more aggressive than our people. I'm just trying to be polite, Zoe. Bye, it was a pleasure seeing you again.
I took a picture of the sign for the playground. My finger's in it.
Oh no.
2.5 acre.
Oh no. Okay.
Forgive me, this is the report, the manager's report and everything attached to it. Is Morel here tonight?
Yeah, that's what we're checking on right now.
Okay. By the way, I invited Mr. Vega. He's from Discount Landscaping.
Oh, okay,
And he's
very
going to
good.
be here, okay? And, okay, this is for Morel. I'm going to put it on the other side.
You said you got to check things squared away with Mel, right?
Yes.
Oh, good. Did Zoe get the checks done?
I have a signature cards. Can you check? Maybe they're in your envelope. We need those
Okay.
signed as soon as possible.
What do you need?
Oh, okay.
Went back to the
This is a big one. Don't worry, I mean, because I can't Okay,
The official note. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. We're going to call to order our first association meeting. I'd like to introduce the people of the board. This is Brian Ingrid. He's the vice president. Gutan Morel, and she's the treasurer. And I'm Mary Beth Leathers, and I'm the president of the board. So we'd like to thank you guys for coming. And Zoe's, of course, I'm sorry, Zoe. Zoe's our property manager with Continental Group. You guys have kind of the agenda, so I'm just going to kind of tell you what we're going to be focused on for the next couple months. You know, we just got the board over, so we're finding out all the different things that have been set up and haven't been set up and what we want to get set up. We really want to focus on a couple big issues first, and we're going to try focusing on, we have some accounts that are not being past due and everything, so we're going to try focusing on that. We're going to try focusing on complying. I know some of us have neighbors with their hurricane shutters still up, and just kind of like not going with the groove of the community, so we're going to try really focusing on that within the first couple months. With that, we're setting up the grievance committee, and we have some volunteers already for the grievance committee for people that are not complying, so that we can really enforce how we want our neighborhood to look. And then we're going to really be cracking down on the renters. As you know, we already have our renters bylaws in effect. We're going to be making sure to go through and knowing who's renting and who's not renting, that have told them, declared themselves to the as a community and said, hey, we're here renting, and provided a copy of their lease. The people that are not, we're really going to make sure we find out what's going on and get them to comply with how we want to have our community. So those are really our top 3 issues that we're going to try focusing on within the next couple months. So it's going to be a little slow going at first, but we really, I think with the starting of the grievance committee, I think we're going to see a really big difference with people who, you know, who don't want to comply. I think a lot of it is going to be investors. They're not even living in the neighborhood. And once we get them to realize that, you know, just because you have a house here doesn't mean you don't have responsibilities here. So before we even really go to the rest of the agenda, we have a guest speaker here tonight, and his name is Mr. Ray Vega. He's the man that does a beautiful job with cutting your lawns, and he wanted to speak with us tonight and really tell us about his company and what he provides to us. So Mr. Vega, if you want to step over there to the podium, you can turn on the mic so people can hear you.
Hi, my name is Ray Vega. My company name is Discount Lawn and Landscaping Services. We've been around for around 16 years. All we do is actually big properties, you know, condominium associations and homeowners associations. There's a main focus of our company is actually service. So through Zoe, if there's a problem, I'm always there. I have a supervisor, but I'm always in the property. I know what your property looks like, who's fertilizing and who's not, and who's turning on the sprinklers and who's not. And so I know all about your properties. I really do take care of the property myself. Through Zoe, you can always get in contact with me. Little by little, I'll be supplying you with, you know, different things that I think you should do, because a new property is perfect to maintain it correctly always. I'll watch out for your budget also. I will not be spending your money for nothing.
And we have to mention that I think right now you are the bidder that has the lowest rate for all of the communities, for the prime home communities at Portofino Bay. They have the best deal right now. No one else has that deal, and he's the one that also takes care of Portofino Lakes and the estates as well.
And just for, I wanted to comment you too on that. I could not believe when I found out how much he charges. It's $650 for the lawn per house, and I was just amazed at how much that price came in. So I want to say it was a very, very good price that he gave people, $6.50.
Yes.
So per house.
And my service will never, ever be compared to my price. My service is perfect. I do not take anything less than perfect. When I am told that one of my tractors shaves the lawn or something like that, it's like very personal to me. I do not do mid-range work. We do by the book. We come every 2 weeks. We maintain 3.5 inches year-round, dry season, wet season. In the wet season, the 3.5 inches covers your roots, and that saves you water. The more time the root is covered, the less water you can actually use, but you need to maintain water in the grass. I know it's very expensive, but in a general sense, you can tell if it gets yellow or a little whitish in the tip, then you need at least water. Then water the lawn. It just maintains the property in an even base, and it takes care of your money actually. That's about it. There's nothing with the trees. Since we're starting with brand new trees, is really perfect, because now we can maintain the trees how we want to maintain the trees, and we will. You know, I will not let them grow crazy. We'll just maintain under law, because there are laws for trees. the best for our property. And I say our property because I maintain relationships with all my properties, and I am very well known in all of Lake County, from City of Miami Lakes to Coconut Grove, everywhere. We do very good work. That's about it.
Does anyone have questions for Ray tonight? The gentleman, sir, I'm sorry, can you state your name and your address, please?
Sure, Ed Graham, 3735 Northeast 23rd Court.
Okay.
Should we fertilize the trees, or will your service be doing that?
No, my service, we can, that's why I said, since we just started with, we will have to have a plan for fertilization plan for the trees. If you want a fertilization plan for the lawn, then you all can come up to that, and then we'll just do it all over, because I won't like this beautiful green lawn here and this white lawn here. I like nice and even, so, but you can do or not do. The trees will have to be done by the association whenever you decide.
Any other questions?
Does that answer? That doesn't answer your question.
No, I should fertilize my tree.
Yeah, you can fertilize your tree. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the gentleman with the cap.
Why don't we get the whole house done instead of the front? Is that possible? How much more would it be?
I'm sorry, to get the...
Yeah, all the lawns cut.
No, because there's some other issues involved in there, such as liability and who has fenced in their patios, and there are the patios that will not be accessible for X reason. Maybe there's a dog there during the daytime, and there are too many liability issues involved. We just like to keep it to the front of the house so everything looks consistent. Everybody has the same look. We don't want, like a 6 feet tall grass on one side and the other one, it's nice cut. We don't want that. That's the reason why we decided to do this. Not too many associations take care of your front lawn. We do it.
I'd just like to say, to answer that question, it's a touchy business. I have a $500 dog, and you open my door and my dog left. What? Yes, my $1,000 dog. I lost it. And somebody took my barbecue. What? My men took your barbecue? Yes. Very touchy. It's just, my men walk in one time, somebody's wearing what they're not supposed to be wearing in the moment, and they're in their house, so what the heck, they want to wear a short or something. Big problems when you go in the backyard. You understand? I wish, really, because I want you all to be happy, but my gosh, we tried it, doesn't work.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Sir, your name and address?
What about the area in between houses?
I do right to the middle, usually where your planter ends, which is the middle of the building, this is your door, we go in right to where the planter ends. Right with the tip of the house, I guess that would be the...
I think of a large area, like say the area when you first drive in, you come straight down, and there's two houses that are separated by a big space, not like this space.
Right.
You see the turnpike behind there.
All right, common area, I do that. Right here on the entrance right here.
You come in the entrance, you go all the way to the end.
Right.
The last row, the last street.
Right.
There's two houses.
But I do that.
There's trees in the front, and then behind it there's grass all the way down to this beautiful turnpike.
Yeah, well...
How far? I just don't know how far you go.
No, I think right to the trees, right? Now you got me confused, because I know the turnpike authority is the one that's supposed to take care of that, but...
Right, it's not the back,
Right, but we don't go that far, because that's part of your yard, of your backyard. But we do, but wait.
I'm going to write it down.
And keep in mind that there are some areas that they belong to your master association.
I don't know where it was, so I know where it's like, where to not bother.
Right, and where you,
Street, when it goes from the berm up, that's part of the master association.
Right in the back, yeah, that's the master.
Yes.
So at the front.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean, between me and Primrose House? There's that big area.
It's that big V, right when you come in, that big grass you see, right when you come straight ahead on 37th Terrace.
Go straight to the back.
right, okay,
There's street trees in the front there, and then behind is open grass
Okay.
area and the turnpike.
I will take a look at it, I will get an answer and give it to Zoe, or if you give me your phone number, I will call you directly. Please?
Have great attendance. Good attendance.
I was shocked.
I think those flyers work better than the letters themselves.
That's correct.
Is there any more questions or anything?
Anybody else have any questions?
Okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here tonight,
Thank you.
Ray. It was very short notice, but thank you. Okay. All right. This is the first monthly management report that it is given to the association from the Continental Group, and you should expect these management reports in every monthly meeting that we have. They're brief and they're intended to inform the board of directors and the homeowners as well. So I'm going to go through this. I'll try to be brief, and we're following the agenda, so keep in mind that later on you'll have time to, ask questions and address the board of directors with concerns that are here in the agenda, okay? Well, on the financial report for the month of May, the operating cash is as follows. The prior balance, which was the month of April, the operating cash was $27,357. There was an increase in cash in the amount of $6,630, and the balance as of today is $35,709. In receivables, maintenance assessment receivable amount, which is the fees that you pay on a monthly basis, the total is $8,150. And the budget expense variance and net income, for the current month, the expense variance was $550, and year-to-date expense variance is $5,776. Year-to-date net income was $6,905. The explanation for some of the variances on the budget, we had printing and postage. The variance was $109. This was due to violations that were mailed out, and they were totaling 245 notices of violations for the month of June. The electricity, there was a variance of $260, and I think the increase was due to the gates being operational and will monitor the electricity consumption. The landscaping extras, there was a line item, landscaping extras and replacement of landscaping. There was a budget variance of $650 and $975 respectively. This was due to the mulching and the landscaping enhancements that we started during the month of June. The financial notes to the association, investment accounts. There are no investment accounts at this time. The association has no accounts that are maturing within the next 60 days. Reserve account analysis. The association does not have a reserve account. A recommendation to the board was made to start a reserve account for asphalt replacement, gate replacement, and possible a perimeter fence repair in the future if the perimeter fence is erected. We can start the reserve by transferring $10,000 from capital contribution funds that already exist, and this was suggested by senior management. Security deposit account analysis. Recommendation from management was made to create a non-interest bearing account for security deposits. No security deposit had been collected since the amendment to the association documents. This is concerning the lease application deposits of $500. Special assessment account analysis. There are no special assessment accounts to report. Accounting items. Tax returns for the year 2004 were submitted to the Board of Directors, and it is pending the signatures.
Can I ask you one quick question? Is that the previous Board of Directors that was submitted to?
No, this one. I have it with me. Okay. The balance sheet variances, there's no significant changes in asset, liability, or equity items during the month of June. Utility, there's really no variances. Administration, correspondence received and or mailed. We have given a report to the Board of Directors on all correspondence. We gave a report on violations, another one on architectural modifications for the review, and no lease applications have been processed by the association during this month. Legal issues, Strategic Technologies. There's a lawsuit between Prime Home Builders and Strategic Technology, and it is still pending. The association was declared not responsible by Prime Homes on the lawsuit, okay? That was discussed on the transition or the turnover meeting that we had. Project update and status. Administrative projects. Lease applications with lease requirements will now be enforced by the Board of Directors. Penalties will apply to homeowners that have not complied. Volunteers are needed for grievance committee, architectural committee, and lease screening. We also need a recording secretary. I think we have one already. The gates are now operational. They were fixed yesterday. Anyone who has not submitted their home number to the association for the database of the directory will risk being left out. Maintenance projects, irrigation project by main entrance across from the trellis is pending. And it is pending an estimate from irrigation company. We should have that by no later tomorrow. A janitorial employee was proposed for the community. This person will be in charge of cleaning the common areas only. You would see this person like going across your yards, and she'll be in the common areas of the community. That person would be there only once a week for 2 hours, and it would cost the association approximately $50 a day. Also, clickers are now available to be sold, the clickers for the main gate, and they will be sold at a cost of $50 per unit. The next item would be bids and proposals. At this point, some bids for security companies were given to the Board of Directors. I would say that we need to get new bids. We need to actually get better bids that actually would be comparable, because the bids that we have are not comparable. Management recommendations. The property manager requested a proposal from Discount Lawn Landscaping Services for tree trimming already. And we also, fertilization and weed control is recommended during this time of year. Bids can be solicited upon Board of Directors request. And finally, an increase of maintenance fees is recommended for next year's budget. Board action items, like Mary Beth mentioned, we have tonight the wood fences, security issues, delinquent homeowners, main entrance, gate, and clickers. And that completes my report to the association. Meredith.
There was 245 violations just this month?
Yes, there were violations and inspections. Basically what I did is that I walked the property and I was very detailed. I got violations from people that had oil in the pavers, or people that had grass, or people that were not maintaining the lawn, not fertilizing. And basically it was just a refresh, on some things that people are forgetting. And in total, I did it for Portofino Bay, and I did it for estates as well. No, remember, your association is Portofino Bay. Everything that I'll report to you here tonight belongs to Portofino Bay only.
So do people have multiple violations? Because I don't think, there are 245 properties.
No, they have multiple violations. There are people that have up to 6 violations at once. Yes, so it's just reminding people that there is an association and that they need to abide by the guidelines that we have established. That's it, I won't be doing violations like this probably in another 6 months, but I will still visit the property weekly, and I do violations on a weekly basis.
Now, are there copies for us to take home of this report with the account set up and everything?
Okay, you at any time can request any documents from the association. They are available to everyone except for any legal issues, or anything that has to do with an account.
This one that you're reading right now, can we make copies of it?
You can solicit the copies directly from the Continental Group, and I think they charge 25 cents per copy, but they are available to you. Okay?
Thanks, you get all that free?
No, the association pays for it. You actually are paying for it already because we bill back the association.
I mean, they have copies right now. They're reading what you're looking at.
Well, if they wish to share them with you, they could, but only certain documents.
Okay.
That's why we rather do it through Continental, because we know the technicalities of copies.
Okay. The gates.
I'm sorry. We're gonna actually have an opening for everybody to ask questions. Right now, we're just going to adhere to the agenda and...
Okay, then I have a question for what you were saying.
Okay.
You see all the day for the custodian? That's for day-to-day work, right?
That'll be for 2 hours perhaps. She'll be there only once a week, and she'll clean up.
Basically be $200 to $250 per month.
Correct, that's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the gates will wait. You really brought it up, but
Yeah.
we'll wait.
Good, we're gonna talk about that. Are you done with your manager's report?
Yes.
Okay, I need to deviate from the agenda for 1 second because I was very rude, and I did introduce Amanda Garner. She's sitting right up front, and she's our councilwoman for our section, the east section, right? And did you want to say anything?
I'm just here to support you. Meredith told me you didn't have any anytime you want, free of charge. And I deal with her a lot.
Yeah.
So if there's anything you need, you can call me or you can have her call me. Whatever I can help.
Do you have a photocopy machine?
She's charging 35 cents a copy over there. But sorry about that. I should have introduced you earlier. Sorry. Okay, we're going to talk into new business, and then we'll be bringing up the fence and new business. The gate, excuse me, the fence. Many people came to me, and they want wood fences, which is understandable. I know it's an economic thing with the metal, PVC, metal ones there. But we still need to have guidelines on the metal fences. And also, it's going to cost us to change our association rules. So we want to really make sure that we do this right, because we can only really change the rules one time for this because it is an economical thing. I guess we have to pay to Miami-Dade County, is that when we change the rules? How does that go?
When you want to change something, it has to be, we have to have an election where the whole community needs to be involved. And of course there will be a charge because a lawyer has to do the document, has to rewrite the documents, and he would have to register the new documents. and that's what it involves. It's
There's
going to be
also-
money. It's about $250 an hour for the lawyer.
Does it also include proxy voting? Would you have to go through that as well?
Yes, of course we have to do a mailing, and the mailing will include proxies and certificates, voting certificates. So it is a costly project, just to change one item. So if we're going to change something, maybe we want to look at several items that we might want to change at once.
Right. So one of them would be the wood fence, and we're trying to make sure, like I said, we do this right. As it stands with the PVC metal fence, we have certain guidelines only that you can buy. Went to Home Depot, and of the Home Depot ones that were approved by already our board, there is only one, which is the dog-eared one. So it's going to be limited, and we want to make sure not that someone puts a fence up and 3 years from now, you have that fence falling down, it looks horrible. So we really want to do this right and make sure that although we're doing something economical, we also make sure it's something that can be upkept and looking really nice. So we want to make sure that most of the people want to do this, even verbally kind of beforehand, before we go through the whole step of also getting all the votes together. We have to send out that special proxy, have people vote on it. If everybody in the community says yes, or 2/3 of the community say yes, then we can go to the next step of making sure we have all the guidelines. And like Zoe said, if we go to do this, we should do more than one thing at a time. We should do the wood fence or any other things we want to change at one time. So kind of just keep in mind, if you guys really want to do the wood fence, so that we can do this, but realize there will be guidelines, like we want to make sure it's cleaned once a year and everything like that. So we are working on the wood fence. It's just going to take a little bit.
People across the street from us,
Yeah, for in Bay.
they have wood fence, so can we just look at their guidelines to get an idea to start with?
Yeah, I mean, we can always look
That'd
at...
be helpful, so we already have their guidelines, they were down probably, so we probably start with theirs and see what we want to change.
Right. But I know we need to have like certain, we know we have to have the dog-eared ones, but yeah, we should definitely see how they worded, how upkept, how many times it has to be cleaned a year, or it'd be interesting to know if they had a certain color. But then again, we have to get a copy of their guidelines from them.
Yeah, I would think white would be standardized. You wouldn't want a whole bunch of different colors.
There's different grades of wood.
Yes, and I saw this one, and then it might not be more economical. They had this one where it's pressure treated and it doesn't like mildew faster or anything like that. So, but then again, if you're going for the more wood price in wood, it might be coming out to the same price as an aluminum PVC too. So that's definitely something to look at.
I think the master water source also has guidelines that we have to meet.
Do they have strict guidelines, or do they just say wood fences and then they leave it up to you?
They point back to our association.
Yeah, exactly. The last amendment they did, basically what it states is that if you have the wood, the wood fences or any other fence,
except for the
procedures, policies, then you would have to go by your association documents.
That is correct.
So they're just giving you a general thing with that. You could have.
Rules, like it has to be shadow box. They also had, the association has its own rules, but it has to be within our rules.
Yes, exactly. Our rules take precedent over theirs. Ours supersede theirs.
Right.
If we say you can't have shadow box, then
That is correct.
Right. Okay.
The way it was worded, it seemed like we had to follow what...
They give us a general outline, like we can have wood, we can have aluminum, we can have PVC, but if they say you can have a wood shadow box, and we say, no, we don't want shadow box, you can have wood, but you have to have like the single ones and dog-eared, it would have to be what our association rules say. But as long as we're saying you can still have wood being what they say. Anybody else with wood fences? Okay, so no, we are trying to work on the fences. It's just is not as quick as what we thought we could change the rules at. We thought it'd be simple, change the rule, and it'd be done, but it turned out not to be that way. Association fees, that's next on the list. We have a lot of people, I don't know what's going on, but I really think it's investors that are not paying their association fees. So we're really going to try working on getting that money in. We have people like 90 days, 60 days, so we're going to try making sure they get, after 15, 30 days past due, they get the letter, and then they get filed up with a lawyer right away. Because, that's money that we don't have in our accounts right now, so that we could be working with it, because we have ideas. We want to look at putting the fence out, the big perimeter fence, and we have other ideas, but as you saw, we do not have a reserve account. So that's one of our main focuses right now is, although it says we have $37,000 or $35,000 in the bank, we would really like to take some of that money, the $10,000, and put it in a reserve account so that we know if something happens, we at least have $10,000 in the account.
Can I interject on something? I just want you guys to know, I believe that beginning balance, was that seed money originally? That wasn't generated from our revenues, was it?
The
30,000, there was some of that seed money, right, to get started?
Yes, the capital contribution money,
Right.
that is contribution from the developer.
Okay, so basically the way it is right now, with the community only collecting a portion of what it needs to operate, we're basically breaking even each month on, accounts receivable, accounts payable. So it's kind of important to us to get the money in, because everyone wants security, they want the gates maintained. There's going to be costs that are going to be coming up. For example, every time there's graffiti in the neighborhood, we have to repaint that. That's a cost to the association. So there's a lot of soft costs that maybe don't show up in the bill every month, like a light bill, but are there. And without the money coming in, it makes it hard for the association to operate, as well as save money in its reserve account for future capital upgrades like fences, perimeter fence. Eventually the roads will need to be resurfaced, and all those are substantial costs, and without the revenue coming in to save for the future, it will make it hard for the association to operate. I'm done.
Do you want to say anything about it?
I like to add something to that, Mary Beth. And sometimes when associations perhaps don't have the funding like that, another resource associations have is actually fining homeowners for violations. So far, we've been very nice, but imagine 245 violations times $50. That would be a lot of money for the association. We really don't want to get there, but as soon as we have a grievance committee, then the association will be having the power of fining the homeowners of the community. And we don't want to abuse that, but we want to alert everyone that this is going to be happening soon. It is considered a source of revenue, yes, but it also is the only way of compliance that we have for some owners that are constantly ignoring the letters of violations of the association.
And it serves everyone's interest to keep our property values up. If, we let the neighborhood run to ground, then you won't be able to sell your home when you finally do decide to sell for the big profit.
Who's going to go after the homeowners that are not paying the association?
We have a lawyer. First, we're going to be establishing the grievance committee hopefully tonight, and those three people will say, okay, you guys are doing something wrong, you need to comply. They don't want to comply, okay, you don't want to comply, there's going to be a fine. They ignore the fine. Then we turn it over to the lawyer. The lawyer sends them a nice little pretty letter that says, by the way, you're not complying, you need to pay your fine. The lawyer's fee, I probably assume, the $100 lawyer's fee, and then you need to, and then they must do the compliance. They still ignore the letter. They can put a lien against the house. It would be the fine, his fees, and the lien fees, plus compliance. They still want to not pay attention to what we're saying. They can start foreclosure on the house. So at that point, all the dirty work is being done by the lawyer.
So it's my understanding that the grievance committee is actually going to go after the homeowners that are not paying $50? Or is that going to be done by...
No, the grievance committee is for the purpose of having a meeting with a person that's not compliant. If the grievance committee fails to come to an agreement, then that'll be forwarded to the lawyer. And then that's when the lawyer, under the authorization of the board of directors, he will take action. And but we really don't want to get to that, you know. It's unlikely we'll get to that point. Now, delinquencies is something else. Delinquencies, when someone is past due 30 days, we're immediately going to refer it to the lawyer with a demand letter. That demand letter costs the association $100. So we need to recuperate the $100, and that actually will come from the pocket of the homeowner who has full delinquent.
And the grievances that come up, it'd be Zoe who writes up the grievance, gives it to the homeowner, and then if they want to dispute the grievance, then they come before the grievance committee. So the grievance committee is not walking around going, and writing little notes, you know, and going after your neighbors that way. Yeah, he did that the other day. Nothing like that.
It's a forum to arbitrate, basically.
Yeah, that's a good term. Anything on the association fees? Anyone want to talk anything about that? Okay, let's move on to the main entrance arm gates. We were so close to putting the arm gates down. We had the one down, and somebody saw somebody hit the arm gate, and it broke it. So then, I don't know if anybody saw Jerry and I out there the other day. We're trying to screw it back together, and there was yelling involved, and...
I've been going in and out all day.
Yeah.
Someone broke it yesterday?
They broke it, what, last week? The week before?
The week before.
And it would go up halfway, then come back down, go up halfway, and then another time it would go up the rest of the way. So
The entrance or
the entrance one.
Okay.
Yeah, the entrance one. So we did get that fixed. But guys, if you see something happening like that, it's a $75 charge each time for them to come out and fix that. So we really don't want them to hit our fence. I mean, look at poor Flirty and Bay. That just looks horrible. But we were so close. So we didn't want to put the other arm down and have someone break that until we had both arms working. So we do have both arms working. When are we going to put that down?
As soon as you give me the okay. It could be tonight. Okay. Make sure you have your cards with you.
Yeah, we haven't decided that with the clicker. Patty, you had a question?
Not a question, but as much as I've seen the one in Freedom Bay breaking down, I'd rather not have it working, to be honest with you. I mean, $75 every time that breaks down is just going to be a pain for everybody.
I agree, honestly, with that, but she'd rather I'm not working, you know?
How can you find out who breaks it and...
Well, it's going to be somebody's friend coming into the neighborhood, it's going to be somebody looking at a house, it's definitely going to get broken, but unfortunately everybody wanted it.
Maybe it's the kind of thing we look long-term, like, hey, we save our money now, and we look into later on.
The slider. Yeah, I agree.
The closes or the slide.
Right. Exactly. But you know what? You see that, and we see that too, but the rest of the homeowners are going to have to see the fence being broken each time and seeing a $75 charge before they say, you know what, we're going to stop fighting for that fence. Because everybody wanted that fence, even knowing Flirty and Bay's fence was down.
What kind of fence? Oh, yeah, it's a fire code.
You don't have the fire code?
Yeah. Excuse me. That's correct, Mel. That's correct.
Don't require that we have the fences going in and out if it's a single-family home community.
That's correct. It's a code violation to have the kind of fence you guys are talking about. The slider.
The slider.
What about the one that opens like this?
Yeah, I don't think we have enough clearance. We don't have enough easement to do it. It's my understanding.
Yeah. Like if you go to Marbella Cove, you're going to see how they have the entrance split. You need that much space to have that kind of entrance that you're talking about. And that's one of the reasons why you guys did not get that in the first place, because it was not, you know, given the permit.
I would, other than a security guard, like somebody sitting at, you know, paying somebody to sit there and...
I'm sure there are other solutions to it. I mean, this one little bar that we have, it can't be the only thing available to us.
If the city decides that's the only thing, you know, you can't really...
Up to the city might decide. I mean, the city might also say, look, you have your choice of little arms, and it could be this little arm, which is, you can break it by hitting it with your hand, or another arm.
Yeah, but then we have the one guy that sits there and hits our arm there, then it's a heavy arm, and says, well, you know your arm damaged my car. And we might think that's stupid, but he still sues us. And then we have to get the lawyer to fight back because he sued us because our heavy arm that he decided to hit damages his car.
We're not the first people who are coming across the situation in Florida.
Right.
Can we set up some type of camera that will...
We are in talks about that, yes. It's going to be an...
Yeah, but it's not going to be more than $200 for a system like that. Just a few recording as the cloud goes.
This is what it is.
One meeting at a time.
Hold
on.
How do you buzz people in with the visitors?
That's you.
I'm sorry, how do you buzz?
What are the directions that we follow when a visitor comes in? I mean, how do you buzz them in?
Okay, I do have a flyer, and the flyer actually was intended to go out with the agenda for tonight, but it didn't make it. Basically, just dial 9 from your phone pad, and that'll give the tone to the gate to raise the arm, and the person then will be invited into the community. And at that moment when you dial 9, you will actually, the call gets disconnected, okay? So don't stay talking on the phone because it just, gets disconnected, okay?
But is that flyer going to go still?
Yes, sir. Expected this week.
I feel like how do you set up inside my car I have one system, so I can
When you get a clicker,
yeah.
that's when you can do it.
So how can we sync the system my car system to your solution?
Okay, the clickers are available now. We just have to set up a day that we can give them out.
So actually my car already having inbuilt clicker, so I have to sync up with yours.
Oh, he would like to use his clicker. Yeah, I know.
You need to call the company of your car. That's not the same thing too. I have to call the company of my car.
They have the clickers program.
Yeah,
there's a special program into it.
Right, we will not actually disclose our codes. We have a system that monitors all the clickers that go in and out. They're being monitored. So I won't say to you, okay, no, you're not going to be able to do it. I look into it, but we are protecting our codes. We don't want our codes to be distributed everywhere. So.
No, actually most of the associations, they are syncing the system with the car system, and they don't need to carry again the car garage opener and this opener, that opener. They don't need to carry all the stickers. Just in the inside the car, they can.
I have the same thing.
It's like a universal remote.
Right. I have that too in my car, and I do it with the garage.
We'll look into
But you
it.
will need the clicker to program the car, but you will have to call your automobile company so they can explain to you how to do it with the clicker.
Not the automation, this coding system that they have to sync up with the car system. That's it.
We have to look into that. Don't know. We have to look into that one.
It's good. Thank you for that, okay?
Any more gate questions?
So where can we get
From Continental Group?
By calling Continental, you can stop by the office between 8:30 and 5 o'clock. And as for Lisa, right now she has all the clickers available. And make a check payable to Portofino Bay, POA. We don't accept cash, so please do not bring cash with you.
How much are
$50.
Is it possible to mail the check in around the quickest mail out?
We're not mailing anything out, sir, I'm sorry. But if you want, you can call us and I can kind of do a home delivery if necessary, if you cannot make it all the way up there, okay?
So after a while, if clicker doesn't work, then do we need to pay it back again, or do we pay maintenance for that?
If it doesn't work? The gates are operational, the gates and the clickers are programmed to work. All we need to do is add the clicker code and your name to the database, and you'll be ready to go immediately. And if the gate is broken, then that doesn't mean we're going to give you the money back,
Yeah, bear in mind, you already have the access cards, so the clickers are added convenience, so.
Exactly. Rena had a question?
That's correct.
Like, I'm not going to get a clicker, so yeah, the cards still work. I'm not holding out my $50.
Both systems will work, simultaneously. They will be working.
Anything else? No. Okay. We're going to move on to the grievance and the architectural committee. And I was hoping for volunteers on my grievance and architectural committee. Volunteers?
Explain to them what is the grievance and what is the architecture.
Grievance, the grievance committee, like I said, is going to be the one. Zoe does the fines, and she submits it to the homeowner disputes that fine, then it would come before the grievance committee. So that one's going to be the grievance committee. You guys would then decide about the fine, and it's really, everything's in writing, so it's not like you're going, oh, well, you know, I feel this day, that's not good for me today, or today this is fine. It's all in writing, so you can sit there and say, well, I'm sorry, according to our bylaws, this and this and this and this is the reason why you got that fine. Or, you know, you're right, there was some miscommunication, we can get rid of the fine or something like that, which would be what the grievance committee would do.
And Maribeth, I learned today that the grievance and the architectural committee could be the same.
Okay.
What's architecture?
Yeah.
Okay, the architecture. Okay, let me go to architectural, and then I'm going to tell you how many we need. Architectural is whenever you want to make a modification to your house. I want to put shutters, those accordion shutters, so I'd fill out my form. I fill out my form. It tells me what I need to put in there, sketch of the boundary survey with proposed modifications drawn on the survey, the appropriate drawings showing both the plan view and the elevation, and specifications of proposed modification, i.e. colors. I had to reject somebody because she didn't give me any information of the details, like of the colors and everything. So be as descriptive as possible. You can't be over descriptive. I would fill this one out. I'd submit it to my architectural committee, or Zoe, I'm sorry, I submit it to Zoe. Zoe gives it to the architectural committee. You guys review it. Again, there's detailed detailed rules which you can go by. It's not like you go, oh yeah, it's Mary Beth, let me disapprove it, or I don't like her, I'm disapproving it. You know, so there's detailed information. You go by that detailed information, and you say approved or disapproved, or disapproved for a certain reason. You know, please give more information. You know, anything like that. Submit it back to Zoe. Zoe gives it, and they send a letter back to me, the homeowner, and say, okay, it was approved or disapproved, and you're disapproved for why. We want to get 3 people for each committee.
Volunteer.
Volunteer, yes.
Only for a salary or anything.
Yeah, no, there's no pay for this. We're hoping if we get 6 people all together, we could have 2 separate committees. We were a little unsure if we would get that many people, so we did find out if we could put the committees together, but we would like to get separate if possible. So any volunteers?
And they would be held like once or twice a month, actually twice a month.
Twice a month. Twice a month.
Okay, I'll volunteer.
You're volunteering, Charlie?
Names.
Okay.
Taking names.
Rena's taking names right next to him.
Okay.
Could you state your name for Rena, please?
And your
Gomez.
What committee are they volunteering for?
Is it going to be both, or?
Well, it depends on the number of volunteers.
We got 2. Do I hear another person? Anybody else volunteering for committee?
Ingrid.
Ingrid? Just start staring at Ingrid over here. Patty? Oh, I'm sorry, Ingrid Monjovi?
I'm missing one name here, because he...
Patty?
This young lady over here, Patty.
Patty, and Patty's last name is Villa.
The lady in red?
You know, we're way back there.
Her name's Elisa.
What's your name? Elisa Inglet. How many is that, Rena? 4? Inglet. Is that 4?
What is his name again?
5. We need one more person. Yay! Woo! So if you guys could please, now just say which committee you want to go to.
Yeah, he did volunteer. Sir, what's his name? The one he volunteered. Did you volunteer as well?
Yes.
What's your last name?
Martinez.
And your first name?
Charlie.
So how many people does that give you then?
We got 6.
Is that 6 or 7?
And the last gentleman in blue was? Ricardo. What's your last name again?
Okay, Charlie, which committee do you want to do? Okay, Charlie's grievance. Patty?
He's hungry.
Grievance.
And Leonardo grievance. Okay, I'm missing one grievance. I have Charlie, Leonardo, and the other person? And Patty. Villa, okay.
Yes.
And then the others will be architectural?
Yes.
Okay, so Ingrid and Alisa and Ricardo would be architectural.
Cool. That was easy.
Okay.
You have Ingrid down on there or something?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Ingrid. You can help people too with their solutions. Like if
Yes.
you want to,
Yes.
this is what you can do. Look, found out if you want to clean this up, just like do it.
Yes, yeah. You know, we don't want to be mean the whole time. We can be nice, proactive.
Yes.
Pay for a fee. I can tell you what.
Yeah, right? He's pimping him services over there.
The last thing is we need the secretary to take the minutes. And if you want to be that person, or, you know, yeah, it would be once a month, or maybe it would be once quarterly, maybe once we are well-established community, we don't have to do this monthly, maybe we do it bi-monthly or we do it quarterly. So you would volunteer to do so, ma'am? That's good? Okay, great.
That's Rena Martinez.
Maybe I should have a backup.
We have 2 little kids, that's why.
Oh, okay.
I'll be your backup.
Okay.
Okay, so that's Rena Martinez. Thank you, Rena.
How often are these meetings and where and when?
Where?
It was twice a month, is my understanding. The location could be, since there's only 3 of you meeting, it depends on the situation. The grievance committee, where they have to interact with somebody, I don't know, get your opinion on that, Zoe, but I would imagine the architectural could meet the 3 of them in the neighborhood at somebody's house. The grievance committee, depending on the situation,
What are your guys' feelings on
You know,
that?
what-
I don't
you know,
know if you want people coming to your house if
right,
there's a grievance.
especially if you have to tell them they gotta pay and they get mad and they bust your stuff up or something.
Right.
Also, they get a clubhouse, you know.
Until they get the clubhouse, Amanda's really been very helpful until they get the clubhouse, Amanda's been very helpful at saying we can use City Hall. We also have a beautiful conference center, or conference room at the Continental Group, but we have to schedule that.
Yeah, that has to be scheduled.
That's
As the grievance committee, we need to meet on our own for stuff, or we just need to meet with this grievance?
No, we would actually, whenever we send out a violation, like a second notice with hearing, at that moment we'll place there the day and the time where the meeting will be held, and the person will be notified. So let's say that there's 7 people that are receiving second notice with hearing for, let's say, the pavers, dirty pavers, whatever. So we'll already have a day established, a day of the month that we'll gather and address those grievances, okay? And most likely it'll be once a month. The architectural committee, that should be at least twice a month, okay?
Can you let us know something, or?
One of us will, yes.
The architectural committee, wouldn't that be like, I mean, it wouldn't happen more as long as people need things? No?
If nobody turns anything in 1 month, do we have to get together?
No, you don't have to.
Or the opposite, like people want to have something done, they have to wait 3 weeks before they even know they can start planning.
Yeah, no, by law, in the architectural forms, we have up to, I believe, 30 days to come with a response, come up with a response. So there's a time frame people need to abide, to. I don't think, maybe the most we'll do would be maybe twice a month, but it's unlikely. I think we're just going to do 1 meeting every month.
And I think once these committees get established and you guys see really what we need to do, we'll probably say then, okay, only once or twice. I mean, right now we've had grand thoughts that, we might have to go twice a month, but, we don't, it might just be once,
I'm just saying, for example, let's say they want to have something added to the house, something small, we need to go for the original committee.
Yeah, like shutters.
Right, shutters, okay. Now, you gotta wait 3 weeks now or more. Up to 30 days before you can even start, planning it, because you don't even know if it's going to be accepted or not. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we should try to be a little more responsive to people.
Well, you live in a planned community and everything is planned and you live in the association, so definitely you need to allow the association time to review any petition that you may have, you know.
You're the association, right?
Yes, you are the association, but you still have to abide by the guidelines of the association.
We're just bringing it up right now that we don't have the money for that.
The question is, if they wanted to meet spur of the moment, could the three of them meet spur of the moment? Are they procedurally required to wait 2 weeks or a month?
Hey, guys, we have one question from the very...
That's what he's asking.
Person in the very back.
You can answer that. You can
Okay.
I have a violation for my little lamps, my little lawn lamps, and we've called you 3 times. We gave you our fax number, so you said that's all you have to do is do the permit thing, and you haven't sent it to us.
What is your name, please?
Kathleen Morgan, you spoke with my husband, Carlos Morgan's wife.
Okay.
Gave you his fax number, and you haven't faxed us anything.
Well, I do apologize, and it is likely because 245 violations can tend to... But what happened is that recently I walked the community again. I closed most of the... Oh, but you had lights, right?
My little lights.
Your little lights. Okay. Could you make a note of the following? The person that actually... Okay. Lisa Jimenez, my assistant, would you be kind enough to call her? She will mail you out the form, the same form. Can you show her the form? She will mail you out the form. Okay, that's all you need to complete. Call Lisa.
We called before and we're all back to you, and we're still waiting for the fax.
Well,
It has to be in triplicate, so that's, maybe there was a confusion, because it has to be, like, oh, there's 4 actual copies here.
yes.
But she told us that she was going to fax it to us, that's why we...
Right, well, then maybe there was a confusion, but we'll make sure that we get
Let me know.
Okay,
right.
I understand Morel up here has
I have copies, and I'll give you one. Just give me your address, and I'll drop it off.
2260 Northeast 37th.
That is so nice of her.
And to answer the gentleman's question, was it Charlie?
Charlie.
Charlie, if you guys want, once the architectural committee convenes, for example, if you're on that board, for example, and you decided you wanted to meet, more often than 2 times a month, that's perfectly fine. And if you know a resident wanted to meet or was trying to get something done and they could convince the 3 of you to meet and make a decision on that within the boundaries of the procedures, then yeah, we're not going to regulate how many times you guys want to meet, just as long as you follow the procedures and the bylaws outlined in our covenants.
They will be giving the architectural guidelines. They need to have a copy of that. We'll forward it to them.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Once they're established, you'd have to be brought up to speed on what the requirements are and understand the paperwork. It's not, it's like Mary Beth had said, it's a little bit regulated in how we conduct business. So once you're up to speed and everyone's comfortable, they know what they need to do. If you wanted to meet more often, I don't think there'd be any problem with that.
Let's move on, because I know some other things. We'll get those committees established on a one-on-one thing with you guys so that we can just make this a smooth transition there. The last thing on our list was the speeding vehicles. I don't know if you all notice it, but the UPS guy, he is always in a hurry. One of these days, he's going to run over a kid, because I watched my neighbor's kid the other day, little 2 or 3-year-old, running, no parents outside, mind you, for 10, 15 minutes. That kid was running across the street. You know who I'm talking about, Mario. Running all around, running on top of the car, gonna be jumping off of the car. I'm like, oh my, I was watching this the whole time going, this kid's gonna get hurt. And people are just flying by, coming down the streets. So it has been brought up about speed bumps in the area, which is very touchy, because it seems like this is what can cause a war. People want the speed bumps, people don't want the speed bumps. Right now, we're undecided on the speed bumps, but mostly, we don't have the money for speed bumps yet. So we are looking mostly right now into the children at play side. People ask, well, since we can't afford the speed bumps, can we look into children at play sign? The sign's there. We're going to look into those, see if that would help the issue. I guess mostly we're just going to have to say, if you see somebody speeding, You don't really want to go talk to them either, but it's like, watch your kids. I don't know what else to tell you. Watch the kids, because these cars are coming by. There's this one neighbor, she comes down, she's the one that has a kid. She flies down the street. I'm like,
Her kid is in the car, so she's not worried about it.
yeah, she doesn't have to care about hitting her kid. Patty?
That's how we were quoted.
No, it's a little bit more, and then also we want to get signs for the community that say slow children at play. So you're looking for installation of each one of those posts, just the post alone. Without the sign, it's $100, between $100 and $120. Plus the signs run about another $30. So, it's a little project.
I'm pretty sure, there's a few people here, we all have kids, and I'd be willing to put money out of my pockets for one of them.
The sign. What?
No, that's the wrong side. Like,
Wasn't it $2,000 or something ridiculous? Speed bump?
I would be willing to like the speed bump.
Leonardo, then Rena, then I think the other guy.
Yeah, because it messes up their cars if they have lowered cars.
We would have to find out what Homestead's codes are for speed bumps. Yes. Yeah, we'd have to find out what the Homestead code.
That's correct. We'd have to get a civil engineering firm to, put together a plan for how we put down the speed bumps. It would have to be presented to the city, and so it would be a pretty big expense. Going back to the fact that we don't have enough money to we don't even have a reserve account, that's how behind the ball we are. So taking on a capital expense like speed bumps would be just too aggressive right now, especially when people are worried about security, and there's been the same amount of discussion and more heated discussion about a perimeter fence and things like that. So it gets into an issue of how we're going to prioritize our spending,
right.
What little we have.
Rena. No, States doesn't have one, and I don't believe, I drove around Floridian Bay maybe a month ago. I had to go something, and they don't have them either. So, it's definitely something we're talking about and looking into. It's just right now, it's a really big financial egg that we might not be able to afford right now. And because people don't want no recognition of the problem, we're trying to maybe do some signs so at least show that we're trying to work on this. It's kind of like a rock and a hard place right now with that.
Question from the gentleman in the back.
I probably, just make a recommendation, I probably wouldn't recommend putting up any children at play signs, because first of all, you have you have a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, and you have another 15-mile-an-hour speed limit already in the community, and people don't abide by it, so the children at play is not going to make any difference.
That's a good point.
Is that the general agreement of everyone here, just to get
no signs?
An idea?
Okay. That's fine with us, and we'd rather save the money, but people are like, signs. I'm like, okay. Okay. No, I agree, actually. They don't stop at the kids sitting at the corner, in the street. They just kind of go around them.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I would encourage you just, if you can, to tell your neighbors maybe slow down a little bit.
Watch your kids.
That's all,
And then the kids play on the street.
Yeah,
it's not a place for kids.
I know we don't have much of a backyard, but if we can try to encourage our kids not to play in the street so much, that would also limit the issue.
Yes. We're into the open adjournment section. Anybody? Yes.
Are the renters being screened already?
Yes. We've had 3 screened? Yes. 2 or 3 screened.
One was denied last week, and basically the community is we are doing the screening for the new people. The problem is that people that are moving in, the homeowners are not disclosing they're having tenants, so we count on all of you to disclose to the association who is your neighbor that is leasing and is not reporting to the association.
Yeah, they're required, but are they doing it? No. These investment people, they don't care. They're like, their whole thing is they want to rent their house, they want to do something, and they're not listening. And we've given them the laws, we've given them the bylaws.
Is that a matter of public record, like seeing what?
Yeah, it was published.
The problem with the people, the tenants, is that the homeowner can say they are related to him, that that's his mother living there. And you have several situations. The only way that you cannot go to their door and knock on their door and say, hey, are you leasing or are you a homeowner?
If there's a lease sign, if there's an agreement sign, isn't that a public record?
That's correct.
Yes, it is.
That is correct.
So can we find it out?
That's what the lawyer does too. At that point, if we have a question, we submit the address and everything. Let's say the homeowner's not answering that question for us, they do a background on the house.
You're thinking like us, legal terms. He just means public record in the fact that it's on public display as a sign out front for rent. That's public knowledge, right?
Yeah.
By sign.
Yeah.
Public record to you and me means it's filed with the county clerk. Clerk of court and all that. See, there you go.
Regular residential. I mean now, like now, someone finds a regular one house, he's renting one house. There's no record.
But if they have more than one, they don't have business license from us, and we can pull that.
Yeah, but not all of them file.
Exactly.
Some are just renting and they're just creating their own contract and they're not filing with the city.
What about the old renters?
The
old renters?
From before.
Yes.
The bylaws came out.
Okay, if we could just have your attention for a minute. Mary Beth will attempt to answer that.
Old renters, if they were here before the bylaws were enacted, the homeowner was told to submit a copy of the lease. Upon their lease expiration, then they'll have to go before the board. At that point, they'll have to do the security deposit, do the background check, do everything like they were going to be at that point a brand new renter, even though they currently live here. At that point, if they do not pass, they need to leave the community. And I don't know if there's a time frame. I mean, they need to leave the community.
There's an eviction process, right?
Right, and if they don't leave, then the homeowner is actually fined until they are gone.
But they don't have to answer, you don't know, they don't have to answer you if they're leasing or not. Can we give you addresses of people that know that they're leasing?
Yes. Because that's ultimately what we wanted to be doing is looking to see what houses, we have houses that supposedly are empty and have tenants living there.
That's correct.
So, and no matter how many times you contact the homeowner, we're not getting answers. So if you see something,
you can email Mary Beth and she'll forward that to my attention.
Yeah. Rena?
You can be anonymous.
The homeowners were sent certified or just regular by their registered address of their home. They had it, when they came in, they had to give us, your home address and your billing address and everything.
Permanent address is what we're saying.
Where they said their mail went to, we provided them a new copy of.
This is for landlords though?
For every homeowner.
We never got that.
You could get a copy through the Continental Group of the amendment.
Yeah, we have to try that. No.
Well, maybe they should be involved.
Did you were first time owner or did you buy from someone else?
That's what
Most likely your documents went to the old owner.
Yeah, for some reason they don't show you as current.
My bills come to me. You don't know finding me there.
Yeah, well, to explain that though, is they usually record two addresses, a permanent mailing and then the living address, so.
Right, correct. Like we wrote and said, no, doesn't live here anymore, where is it?
It might be better to fax over to Lisa,
Accounting.
Put it in writing. That way you have a copy of the fax. This is our address, name, Portofino Bay. We want to make sure all of our mail gets mailed to this address.
And
please, accounting, she said.
Put it to accounting, attention, Vivian Jimenez. And you need to send along with that a copy of your warranty deed or your settlement statement in order to make that change of address effective. Otherwise, it'll be discarded if you don't send that.
My name on all of your houses.
Yeah, that's correct. Like a closing settlement statement is what she's looking for, proving that you own the house.
Did you say you want us to email you the renters in our area?
Yeah, that way we can make sure that our idea of who the renters are going along with Continental's group's idea of who the renters are.
Yeah, if everyone turns something, we'll start cross-referencing those, looking for, similarities.
And it's not like we don't want the renters. We're not being like that. We just want the renters to comply with our bylaws.
Yeah. You
Yeah, I'm
can
not
submit the list anonymous.
Yes, just send me the thing, I don't worry about your all's names, I just want the addresses. Anybody else have questions? Questions, sir?
Anyone else got any complaints about fireworks?
Fireworks? Well, I personally like the gunfire from Homestead Air Force Base, because that just makes me feel very comfortable. No, I have not heard anything about fireworks, but we know we got July 4th. It's going to be like that till July 22nd. Anybody?
You mentioned a perimeter fence. What's happening with that fence?
It's going to eventually happen. We're getting bids. We're finding out financially what we can afford, what we can put up there according to the Waterstone Association rules, but it is ultimately something we want to do. Portofino Bay area. I think it would run along the side of that canal, not the canal property, but run along the side of the canal.
Talking about the turnpike where we live? Back there?
No. It would be just in front on Waterstone Way, probably starting by wherever the lake property starts, Portofino Bay, run along Waterstone Way down, and then to the canal? Right. To the canal. A perimeter fence there, but we gotta look for pricing, money, sell ourselves.
There's something I want to bring out, and there's several people here that live back there, the cul-de-sac is, there's people that actually are taking their cars and are taking that road all the way back on the like this. It's really bad.
Yeah, I saw a little mini bike coming off through there, but actually, there's really nothing we can do. That's water management property. And we have complained, everybody's complained to water management.
And you can complain to Durham if you see any...
The Durham people? Yeah.
Well, there's cars that actually go through there to go to the other side. I guess it's a
Yeah.
And they're taking that as a road, and they don't like they're back and forth. So the two houses that are at the end, actually they're running over the pavers and, they're just destroying them.
I won't tell you what I would think about doing, but nails in the ground. Yes,
that's correct.
Exactly. Well, no, the police should be a better response time because we have a whole section. Yeah, listen to Charlie's answer. We didn't recommend it, but listen to Charlie's answer.
Metal post there.
Metal post you're talking about?
I think that would be a very inexpensive proposition just to have some metal posts there by the sidewalk, so no big vehicles can go through there. Like ATVs or, no vehicle that's not supposed to be there.
Okay. Metal posts. Okay.
Yeah, I would say at this meeting, we probably don't need to decide for sure, but sometime in the future, we probably needed to start deciding on which one of these expensive projects you'd like for us to focus on.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of, like we mentioned quite a few things tonight, security and the fence and a lot of different things. And like I said, there's not a whole lot of money rolling in. That might change if we start getting everyone to pay all their dues and stuff. But I'd say, for the next 6 months or so, we probably should focus on one big expense, whatever that is that you guys want, and then see if we can even do it. Because there's a lot of discussion, if we talk about a perimeter fence, how high, where's it exactly going to go, what's it going to be made out of, who's going to install it, all those kinds of things will have to be tackled. That takes time to research and get bids and get all of you guys to agree on and things like that, so it does take time. So I'm just saying, when you go home tonight, kind of think about what you guys think is most important, and maybe in the future meetings we can settle on whatever that thing is.
And also, you need to think about your maintenance fee if y'all going to be doing these projects.
Right.
Maintenance fee going to be going up too.
So do you have any idea how much do you want to budget for next year, or how much do you think that we should be increasing?
Budgets are coming up this month, and in the next meeting, I should have at least a draft on the numbers that we should be looking at for next year. What I do know is that the developer usually has a conservative way of doing budgets. I have not seen them go or exceed the $100,000 limit because when they do their tax reviews and compilations and all that, it has to do how much money they have to pay at the end. So I think we're under budget, and we need to address that and adjust it for next year.
And of course, they're going to sell us a community with a $50 maintenance fee, because that looked really better than selling us a community with a $200 maintenance fee. Not saying it's going to be that, but I mean, they make it look the best as possible, but it might not be the best for us right now or in the future.
Yeah, just so you guys don't get sticker shock when M&E and all that takes in the new clubhouse and everything, we'll probably have a maintenance fee jump.
Exactly, because M&E right now, what we're paying for, we're paying 700 something.
I have no numbers.
We're paying a figure to, as you know, there's all those different communities. There's a master association. That master association's in charge of the Waterstone Way community, i.e. the clubhouse, those trees out front and everything like that. When that clubhouse takes effect and there's a working pool, which will need, pool cleaning service, it'll need like a little property manager, however we want to make sure they run that property, they get their funding from our individual associations. So when they're up and running at full force, their costs are going to be more expensive. So they're going to be coming back to us and saying, listen, you guys need to start kicking in more money to us so that we can have this part of the community run. So it's very true. Once that comes up, they're going to be knocking on our door asking for more money.
As long as we can use it.
Exactly. I saw workers today. I saw more than 2 workers today. And they were working. They weren't just standing there looking at the ground going, They were moving. I was like, I almost ran off the road because I'm like, look. I couldn't believe it. There's a sidewalk thing area. I'm like, oh my God.
Do we still fighting about CDD or is we forgot the thing?
That's individual association. We'll talk about that after the meeting. Anything else? So I want to bring up 2 other things. Okay. Councilwoman Judy Waldman is putting on a town hall meeting on July 13th. All the services provided by the Homestead, the water, I think police, the whole city? Okay. Yeah, okay, so there's a July 13th one specifically for Waterstone. She's inviting everybody to come. If you guys think you might make it, give me a little heads up, because she's kind of trying to get basic head count, because she's going to provide cookies and coffee. So she doesn't want to have 2 little cookies and coffee. But it should be a really nice meeting.
What time?
7 o'clock, July 13th, which was a Wednesday.
There's actually going to be like 6 different meetings. You can go to any of them because they're all open to the public. We're all going to have the same people there. It's the 13th is at the sports.
The stadium.
It's at the minor league clubhouse, which is actually I'll find out, but it might be where some of you guys vote. It's where I vote because I live across the street. That's at 7 o'clock. The next day we're having one at Lakeshore. The 22nd and 23rd, we're having 2 more, and then in August, we're going to have 2 more. So if you can't make it to one of them, you can come to any of them.
Don't leave yet. Give me 2 more seconds of your time. I need everybody to please call mosquito control. I don't know if you guys get eaten when you walk mosquito control. I don't know if you guys get eaten when you walk outside, but mosquito control seems to feel that one person cannot call from the community. They want all 163 homeowners to call them, preferably daily, and complain about the mosquitoes. Which is just an insane thing, huh? The mosquito control number is 592-305-592-1186. If you want to get a hold of them, it's always better to call first thing in the morning or after 3. They're supposed to spray. They take the plane out and they spray, and they also have the truck that they spray. Well, I've called mosquito control twice, and I had 2 supervisors come down. First, I was told that it wasn't in the budget to start spraying yet, which really is not my concern. Then they said, well, it's because we live too close for the Everglades. Still not my concern. Then they said they weren't the right kind of mosquitoes. Then they said, what was the other good one? This is Miami-Dade mosquito, and these were 2 supervisors that came out. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? It was just, I can't remember, it was like the worst idiotic response. I can't remember it right now. And I called his boss. No, they talked to Jerry, and he was useless. So I called his boss. I'm like, what is your supervisor telling me? So I ended up calling a third time, and my friend that I used to go to school with actually still works there. So she said she's going to get, the response was because one person. If one person calls, it's not a real complaint. You had to have everybody call, which I just thought was stupid. So if we'd like to have the mosquito control problem, they would really like to hear from all of us.
Everybody call 10 times.
Exactly. I suggest calling daily. Just make those people really happy to hear from us.
Bring the phone off the hook.
And I tell my friend this, and she's like, we know we get 1,000 calls a day. I said, well, your supervisor's like, you get 1,163 calls a day then, because they want every homeowner to call and complain. So we won't get justice until everybody calls and really just starts bitching. So that was it. Well, my meeting and mosquito control bitch. They just fried my brain.
Ask if there's any other new items. And then
Anything else? Otherwise, Mary Beth will talk forever. I'm sorry.
I have a question regarding the animals.
Uh-huh.
The animals, I love them, but I don't have the soul for the dogs. Every time I go to my backyard, I just find food for and the dog and I don't have.
Right.
They go and walk out with dogs. So not that they do it and they pick up,
Right.
But some others just let them go and they go to the yard. And that's how.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Zoe's been really cracking down on, or at least trying to crack down.
And Morel as well. She's been taking pictures of
dogs. Man, if your dog poops in the wrong place, she's behind the curtain.
That's great.
One scope, but let's take pictures.
Then somebody sent their dog to poop in front of my mailbox. Okay, and that evening, I forgot all about it. I could have stepped on them in my brand new shoes. Okay, so if they want to, do it in your own yard, but don't,
And the lady also that we're hiring, the one who's coming once a week, she's also pooper scooping.
Yes.
That's one of the main
She's going to be doing it with the condition she would do it only once. And then after that, it is the responsibility of the owner, and the flyer that we're mailing out with the instructions on how to use the gate also has a little note on pet issues.
Yeah. And please, dogs aren't without leashes. If I know you don't have a dog, but had you had a dog without a leash, please, when you put your dog, there's neighbors. I mean, they open the door, they let the dog out. UPS guy's still coming again to run down your children. He hits your dog then. And it's crazy. And you're trying to get out the dog. And if anybody's seen my dog, you know he's crazy. So I'm trying to get out the door, and there's this new strange dog coming, and then you have dogs everywhere.
Yeah, actually, there's already been one dog death in the neighborhood a couple weeks ago.
Really? Don't tell me that.
Yeah, so it's very real.
Amanda, I have a question for you, Amanda. What involvement does the city has when it comes to animal control?
We have a code department that actually has an animal control person. We have our own person. So if you need his number, I can give it to you.
Because I understand that I don't think they'll come out if somebody says there's an animal loose and has no tag, can you come and get it? Somebody called from the community and they told me that they didn't get a response. So I just want to know what limitations that they have.
They don't work on the weekends, so if it was on the weekend, there's probably nobody that would have come. But we do have one full-time person that's only for animal control, and he'll come pick up anything.
Okay.
All right, we'll get that number to everybody as well.
Okay.
Anybody? Wait, one other question.
I don't know if anybody else has this problem, and it's with flooding.
Would you like the number?
Somebody's, I've been really lucky so far, but if we have a rain like from one day to the next.
I hate to be living on those lakes.
Between our houses and my whole patio, it just comes right in.
Yeah. Mine's the same way.
Unfortunately, we live in a flood zone, and according to Miami-Dade County, last I checked, we are in a mandatory evacuation. I think we're in the middle level, I forget, yellow.
Yeah.
So
and
it's a recognized flood zone.
And you don't have absorbent soil or anything.
No, we're sitting on limestone.
Yeah.
So it doesn't absorb.
I'm talking about like a thunderstorm, not rain.
That's correct. I think we're only like 7 feet above sea level, if I'm not mistaken.
And you realize if you picked up your grass, you might have a little thin layer of soil, but you got
Rock immediately underneath.
rocks, mud. Yes, lots of rocks. So, I mean, you have really nothing absorbing the water like that.
As well as health department. I actually had this problem at the beginning, and I took it up with the developer, and they told me that as long as the water drains within the day, they can go to it. I took pictures of it, and I sent it to the developers. They said, if it stops raining, and you get one whole day, the whole water drains, they don't have to do anything about it. So basically, that's what happens.
We need to get 10 minutes. That's the only thing.
I don't know.
My house needs to be.
I know the developer won't do anything, because once it starts raining, of course, it's gonna, within a whole day, it's gonna go away. It's gonna drain again. But if the water comes into your house, it's going to rain.
Yeah, that's why they require flood insurance.
Concrete slabs, Port of Phoenix State, they're doing it because they're having that problem.
No, it's still better than that.
What I personally did was I put a slab.
I mean, everyone's going to have a problem down
And that was our problem.
Yeah, so land is shallow.
And that really, I haven't really done the water.
On the other side of the patio?
Right, in the back of the patio. One part of the back, slab of cement that goes down.
Goes down.
Right. Then you have to get permission.
Yes, architectural, very important because you want to create a drainage problem for your neighbor as well.
Rejected. Anything else? Anything else? Any questions? Anything you guys want us to bring up for our next meeting?
I know I spoke to you recently regarding my next door neighbor with the...
I'm sorry, what is your name?
Pascal.
Oh, you're Francis.
Yes.
All right.
My next door neighbor, actually they don't live in the house, it was rented, and there was a leak from the side of the house, and it's like water draining every day, and it's full with mosquitoes. And I spoke to the tenant. He told me that you can't worry about that, he's going to leave soon, that the owner will post a number when they're going to rent it. But I spoke to him and gave him the address, and it's still leaking, the water is still there. And I cannot even go get my garbage can if there's a,
Is that the same people that left the boxes at the... Okay, because I've been trying to get a hold of the owner, and the association does not have a telephone number for this homeowner. And all we've been doing is trying to reach the owner via mail. That's the only way we can reach the owner.
I speak to the tenant, and I told him it's not fair.
What, if you see the tenant, we need a phone number for the homeowner.
We can shut the water off, right, or can we? Do we have the ability, the water main is right there in the street, can we shut the water off to that house and stop this?
It could be done.
Yeah, just go in there and check the thing.
But
Yeah, just go to the water meter and there's a small valve there you can close.
If that is done, we still have to notify the owner, because when he comes back, he finds no water. He's going to think that they cut his water.
That was fun to do that, one neighbor.
Well, anyways, so let's process that and see if we can resolve that for you.
Thanks, Francis.
Anything else? Because I know these ladies would like to leave soon. This is our third meeting. If you join the committee, can you guys please get with Rena so that you can give your...
Yeah, those are the joint committee, hang back, so we can get all that taken care of.
Okay, guys, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Thank you all for coming. Thank you. Adjourned.
What a cookie than the story. I'm going to mail you the architectural guidelines so you can have all the information and read it. Okay, so anyways, yeah, because sometimes remember that noise and the more you know, the better.